ಹಲೋ
ಸರ್, ನಿಮ್ ಫುಲ್ ಸ್ಕ್ರೀನ್ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ ನೋಡಿ. ಫುಲ್ ಸ್ಕ್ರೀನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅದನ್ನ.
ಸ್ಕ್ರೀನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ.
ಸ್ಲೈಡ್ ವ್ಯೂ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆ. ಫುಲ್ ಸ್ಕ್ರೀನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಿ ಯಾರಿಗಾರ ಒಬ್ರಿಗೆ.
ಫುಲ್ ಸ್ಕ್ರೀನ್
ಮೇಲ್ಗಡೆ ಇದೆ ನೋಡಿ, ಅಲ್ಲೇನೆ ಸ್ಲೈಡ್ ಶೋ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಸ್ಲೈಡ್ ಶೋಗೆ ಹೋಗಿ.
ಸ್ಲೈಡ್ ಶೋ
ಅಲ್ಲಿ ತೋರಿಸ್ತಾ ನೋಡಿ ಯಾರೋ. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಫುಲ್ ಸ್ಕ್ರೀನ್ ಮಾಡಿ.
ಸರ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ವಲ್ಲ? ಹಲೋ ಸರ್.
ಸರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಲೈಡ್ ಶೋ ಅಂತ ಮೇಲ್ಗಡೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿದೆ ನೋಡಿ.
ಮೆನು ಗುಡ್
ಸ್ಲೈಡ್ ಶೋ ನೋಡಿ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾಣ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಾ? ಮೆನು ತೋರಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ನೋಡಿ.
8th ಮೆನು. ಕ್ಲಿಕ್ ಆನ್ ಸ್ಲೈಡ್ ಶೋ ಸರ್. 8th ಮೆನು ಇದೆ ನೋಡಿ. ಫೈಲ್, ಹೋಮ್ ಸರ್. ಫೈಲ್, ಹೋಮ್, ಇನ್ಸರ್ಟ್ ಅಂತ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ ಸರ್ ನಿಮ್ PPT ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಕೊನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಲೈಡ್ ಶೋ ಅಂತ ಇದೆ ನೋಡಿ. ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಮೆನು ನಂಬರ್ 8. ಮೆನು ನಂಬರ್ 8 ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಗಿನ್ನ ಹಿಂದೆ 5th ಮೆನು.
ಅದೇನೆ
ಸ್ಲೈಡ್ ಶೋ ಕ್ಲಿಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ಕ್ಲಿಕ್ ಆನ್ ದಟ್ ಸ್ಲೈಡ್ ಶೋ. ಅಲ್ಲ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಮೊದಲು ಎನೇಬಲ್ ರೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಸರ್. ನೀವು
ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎನೇಬಲ್ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ, ಎಡಿಟಿಂಗ್ ಎನೇಬಲ್ ಮಾಡಿ.
ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ಎನೇಬಲ್ ರೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಅಂತ ತೋರಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಕ್ಲಿಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ಕ್ಲಿಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ಅದನ್ನ ಲಾಕ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಪ್ರೊಟೆಕ್ಟೆಡ್ ಮೋಡಲ್ ಓಪನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ನೀವು ಕ್ಲಿಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ಅದನ್ನ
ಕ್ಲಿಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಸರ್. ಅದನ್ನ
ಎನೇಬಲ್ ರೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಕ್ಲಿಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಸರ್. ಆರೋ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ನೋಡಿ, ಅದು ಕ್ಲಿಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ಕ್ಲಿಕ್ ಆನ್ ದಟ್ ಒನ್. ಎನೇಬಲ್ ಎಡಿಟಿಂಗ್ ಅಂತ ನೀವು ಪಾಯಿಂಟರ್ ಕ್ಲಿಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ. ಆಗ ಎಡಿಟಿಂಗ್ ಮೋಡ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ದೆನ್ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಯುವರ್ ಸ್ಲೈಡ್ ಶೋ.
ಓಪನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಸರ್. ಓಪನ್ ಮಾಡಿ.
ಎನೇಬಲ್ ಎಡಿಟಿಂಗ್ ಅಂತ ಇದೆ, ಅದು ಕ್ಲಿಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಸರ್. ಮತ್ತೆ
ಶೇರ್ ಮಾಡಲ
ಓಪನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಸರ್.
ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ
ಓಪನ್ ಮಾಡಿ
ವಾಯ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಸಿಂಕ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ.
ಅದನ್ನೇ ಮಾಡಿರೋದು. ನಾವ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡೋದು ಬರಲ್ಲ. ಸ್ಕ್ರೀನ್ ಶೇರ್ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಓಪನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೆ ನಾನು.
ಅಲ್ಲ, ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಸರ್ ನಿಮ್ ಸೌಂಡ್ ಇದನ್ನ. ಪ್ರಿನ್ಸಿಪಲ್ ಅದ್ಬೇಡ ನಾನು ಕಳ್ಸಿ, ಅದನ್ನ ಕಳ್ಸಿದೀನಿ. ಅದ್ಬೇಡ, ಮೇಲ್ ಕಳ್ಸೋದು ಇವನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಹಿಂಗೆ ನಾವು ಒಂದ್ಸರಿ ಅರೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊ ಕಂಪಲ್ಸರಿ ಕರ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಂದು.
ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಸೆಲೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಕ್ಲಿಕ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಸ್ಪೀಕರ್
ಮೊದಲೇ ಬಟನ್ ತಪ್ಪಿದಂಗೆ ಸರ್. ಮೊದಲೇ ಬಟನ್ ತಪ್ಪಿದಂಗೆ. ಮೊದಲ ತಪ್ಪು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಬಟನ್ ತಪ್ಪಿದಂಗೆ.
ಇಲ್ಲ, 5 ನಿಮಿಷ 6 ನಿಮಿಷ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. Sir, Sadish sir. Hello.
ಆನ್ ಮಾಡಿ.
Sir, ನಾವು ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ನಾವು ಶೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿದೀವಿ, ಈಗ ಶುರು ಮಾಡಿ ಒಂದು ನಿಮಿಷ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. Just 1 second, I will introduce you and you can start. So, welcome all. Sorry for the technical problem we have encountered. So we are starting. We are starting this AROHAN lecture series. I request you to please. Thank you. So today we have a session from Dr. Satish NS, the principal of Government Engineering College, Kushalnagar. The topic is on sustainable water management techniques in urban and rural areas. So to introduce briefly Satish, Professor Satish, he is actually working as the principal in Government Engineering College, Kushalnagar, and he did his BE in civil engineering from Mysore University in the year 1989 and MTech from environmental engineering in 1999. And he received PhD from in the year 2007 from Coimbatore University. He worked at Chikmagalur as lecturer, senior grade lecturer, and assistant professor and professor up to 2010. And he has published more than 35 research papers in national and international journals and conferences. And he was a member of BOE in Coimbatore University and VTU Belagavi, and also a member of LSE VTU Belagavi. And he has worked as a member of expert committee EVC ACTE New Delhi, and he is also a member of technical committee KUWO SSB Mysore zone, and he is having more than 29 years of teaching experience, and presently is working as principal of GEC Kushalnagar. I welcome you, sir. I request you to please take over the session. Thank you very much. Sir, please unmute your mic, sir.
Okay, thank you, Basara sir. Good evening to one and all. On this occasion of AROHAN 2024 Series 5, I would like to share my interested topic on this occasion. There are two reasons behind the selection of this topic and also for this presentation. The first thing is my area of interest is water management and wastewater management, and the second is this water scarcity. What in recent days, presently we are facing, it is the burning issue. So with that context, I have selected, with that reasons, I have selected this topic, sir. So, sir, in this talk, I have made content layout for this presentation that mainly covers with introduction this water management challenges in urban water management, then sustainable techniques in urban areas, and some case studies for these urban areas with some cities, and similarly challenges in rural water management. So there also I selected some case studies, and finally the important the content is integrated water management and that conclusions. Sir, this sustainable water management, it is a key factor. So in that, mainly it consists of, the management of the sustainable water that mainly covers with these key issues. So in that, the first one is resource conservation, environmental protection, climate change adoption, public health, food security, economic development, social equity, mitigation of pollution, natural disaster mitigation. Sir, first of all, we have to present the global water scenario. Sir, on the earth crust, so totally the water availability on the earth crust is 1,400 million, 10 power 6 billion cubic meters, sir. That much of water resources is available in the form of surface water and groundwater sources. So totally in that surface water, total availability of water resources, as we know that 97.3% of water is saltish water. That is mainly present in the oceans and seas, whereas out of that 14,000 10 power 6 billion cubic meter of water, only 2%, 2.7% of water is available for the humankind. So in that, once again, in the 2.7% of that water resources, 2.1% is available as fresh water, which is available in the form of surface water, whereas 0.7% is available in the form of groundwater. So once again, we can have the that bar chart that shows the distribution of that groundwater, surface water on the earth crust. So totally, there is 75% of that water which is existing in the polar ice and ice caps and glaciers, and in that remaining groundwater, 13% of groundwater is available. So in the depth of 800 to 4,000 meters, and once again, 10% is available, below 800 meter depth. Whatever this 10% that below the 800 meter, above the 800 meter, so which is extracted through the borewell technology, sir. Whereas the whatever the 13% of that groundwater which is available in between 800 to 4,000 meter depth, so it is very difficult to extract. So even though if we extract that, so that water is not potable because that is chemically contaminated one. So as we go deep and deep, go on deep and deep, more depth. So normally what happens, there is that salt water intrusion will be takes place. So hence the water is not potable, and also that requires more treatment for cost. More cost for treatment. So hence usually whatever the water will extract below this 800 meter, that is potable, sir. And of course that is used with minimum treatment. And other sources that consist of 2%. So anyway, that shows 100% of that global water distribution. And after knowing the global water scenario, we have to come to the water scarcity scenario in Indian context. So in that, in India, what we have, the population, it is more than 140 crores. So in that, normally, 2000, 600 million people and nearly 60 crores, they are facing extreme water crisis. And annually, more than 2 lakh people, they are die every year due to the inadequate access to the safe water. One second, Srinath. The slideshow, what is it? Slideshow. It is. No, wait, next. Okay. Okay, sir. So in the water scarcity scenario in this Indian context, here, if you take the global scenario, an average water consumption which is supplied in developed countries, it is more than 53, you know, LPCD, that is liters per capita per day, whereas in India, it is expected to have only 20 LPCD. Of course, as per the BIS, during the time of designing of any of these water treatment plant, the per capita demand is taken as 135 LPCD. That includes water for domestic consumption, industrial consumption, and institutional and commercial. So like that, for various activities during the time of designing, they will going to take the 135 LPCD. So whereas the real picture is, so here, whatever the people they are getting is only less than 20 LPCD. And we have many challenges in this urban water management. So there mainly 5 factors will plays a major role. I mean that will going to affect on the this one water management, urban water management. So that 5 aspects are: the first one is growing demand, second one is aging infrastructure, water scarcity, then fourth one is water quality, and fifth one is non-revenue water. So in that growing demand, so normally due to this, urbanization, more and more urbanization and globalization, industrialization. So normally what happens generally, the demand of water will be more. That increase the demand of the city. So that maybe for domestic demand, industrial demand, then public demand. So like that. So due to this more and more this development of the towns, cities, or countries, usually what happens that leads to the more growing demand. So after that, aging infrastructure. So in that, whatever the infrastructure they have designed for this water supply scheme, they are more than 40 years, 50 years like that. So due to that, normally what happens, so that will leads to, due to this wear and tear and many other aspects, normally what happens, it is not, whatever that supply or that is reducing. So during the time of flowing, in the distribution system. So hence it is that will also one of factor which will going to affect on the urban water management. Then after that, water scarcity. So normally this water scarcity is more due to this less deficiency in the rainfall compared to the previous year. So this year we have received 39% of less rainfall deficiency. So that is also one reason for this water scarcity. Then after that, water quality. So water quality is also one important this one a challenge. So because normally what happens, this whatever that existing water resources that may be in the rivers, lakes, and ponds, so they are getting polluted due to the distribution of or the discharge of this untreated domestic wastewater, industrial wastewater. So due to that, what happens? It is altering the quality of that water. So hence, it is also one challenge to treat that water. Then after that, the other factor is non-revenue water. So in that non-revenue water, so in our Indian system, what happens in many areas? So there are illegal connections, water connections are there. So due to that, whatever that people's those who are residing there, they are illegally they are getting the water. They are not paying the water tax like that. So that is also one challenge to meet this urban water management system. Okay, next. Yes, sir. So anywhere, due to the to have a sustainable water management techniques. Normally, the important techniques which are included to manage that sustainable water management, they are as follows. That is, the first one is water conservation and efficiency measures, grey water recycling, rainwater harvesting, green infrastructure, water sensitive urban design, integrated water management, that is IWM, decentralized water systems, then smart water management techniques, community engagement and education, then policy and governance reforms. So these are the important techniques to maintain the sustainable water management. Next. So among that, just I will go to go through some important techniques of that one. Among that, the first one is the water conservation and efficiency measures. So here, so basically what happens, we have to create the awareness among the residents of the people so that it will help in the water conservation, and this will includes the promoting of water efficient appliances, then fixtures and landscaping techniques, as well as implementing water saving policies and regulations. Next one. Sir, this grey water recycling. So in that, normally what happens, it provides reuse and recycling technique or technology. So in that, normally grey water now, which is produced from the sinks and wash basins and bathrooms, usually they are less contaminated and polluted one. So hence they are generally called as grey water. So with little treatment, if we recycle that grey water, definitely that will make the good practice for this sustainable water management. Next. So rainwater harvesting, it is most important one. So it is one important technique which is very much essential in recent days to save the water and to maintain the sustainable water management. So in that, normally, generally, we know that in this rainwater harvesting, what we're going to do, we're going to capturing and storing up the rainwater from the rooftop and pavements, and supplement water supply. That water can be supplemented during dry periods and reduce stormwater runoff and flooding also. And in urban areas and in developed cities, the government or that authority, it has made mandatory, they have to provide this rainwater harvesting. So during the time of construction of their own structures. Next. Next. And after that, green infrastructure, it is generally, it can also be implemented. So here, normally what happens, we have to provide the infrastructure as a features such as a green roof, permeable pavement, rain gardens, and urban forests can help absorb and manage soft water runoff. So that can also reduces the flooding and improve water quality and enhance urban biodiversity and water quality. And sir, here in this urban water management technique, I will going to take the one case study. So which is from the Melbourne city, from the Australia, which is developed one. So in earlier days, that was faced, lot of water scarcity due to this, population growth, climate change. So with that,
Sir, sorry to interrupt you. Sir, sorry to interrupt you. You need to manage in another 10 minutes, sir. The other speakers.
Yes, I will make it fast.
Yeah, please.
And yes, sir. And so during that time, that people, that authority, they have approached integrated water management. So by practicing that, that integrated water management that integrates or includes the water sources, treatment methods, and distribution systems to optimize water use and reduce reliance on that water. And among that, so the important practices what they have made in that Melbourne city are that rainwater harvesting, stormwater management, wastewater recycling, groundwater recharge, desalination, water conservation efficiency. So with that techniques, so they have come out of that water scarcity problem, and they have managed that city with this sustainable water management, sir. Sir, in coming to the urban management in an Indian scenario. So here, sir, normally what happens, the water scarcity is considered when that area or that city or that country, when it receives annual per capita demand availability, when it is less than 1,000 cubic meters, then it is considered as water crisis. Then according to this Niti Aayog in India, so nearly 600 million people are facing high to extreme water stress, and about 2 lakh people die every year due to inadequate access to water, access to safe water. Sir, coming, the reasons for, the same, reasons for Bangalore water crisis are that includes 4 reasons. The first reason for water crisis in Bangalore is the first one is reduced rainfall leading to empty water reservoirs. Second one is depletion of groundwater. Third one is destruction of natural water bodies. Fourth one is mismanagement and inadequate distribution. Sir, there and also this reuse and recycling technology is one important technique which is already practiced in Bangalore also. Just I will go to give one simple example. Sir, in Bangalore, there is one tertiary wastewater treatment, so which is existing in Yelahanka New Town, and it is and the capacity of that tertiary wastewater treatment plant, tertiary or advanced wastewater treatment plant, is the capacity of 10 MLD. So initially, what happens? It was constructed in the year 2004, and during that time, it was received the wastewater which is collected from the in and around of that Yelahanka town. Then after that, it treated that water with advanced technologies, and later, so during the time of, we as all of you know that the KAL, Kempegowda International Airport, it was constructed in between 2004 to 8. So during that time, there was more scarcity for the construction purpose. So during that time, what happens? They have received the treated water for their construction. Indirectly, they have given the charges to that tertiary wastewater treatment plant or to the authority, and that is one thing, sir. And in these days also, whatever the wastewater treated is equivalent to the potable water, and they are supplying that water to the Kempegowda International Airport. Then after that, this one, sir, HAL and other minor industries. So in fact, it is getting 18 to 20 lakhs of revenue every year. That is the collected revenue from the plant. So that is due to the reusing and recycling technology which is developed in the tertiary or advanced wastewater treatment plant. And regarding the sustainable, after that, sir, just I want to discuss regarding the sustainable techniques in the rural areas. So that also includes 5 key components. The first one is they have to practice the reduce, reuse, recycle, restore, and recover. And due to this, it is generally called as circular water management, sir. So if due to the practice of these items or things, so definitely it is possible to achieve sustainable water management in the urban areas also, sir. And for that also, I will take one this one, sir. Case study. So as all of you know that one the Jal Jeevan mission. So it is the plan. It is recently implemented. Of course, the plan for this JJM is from 2009 to 2024. And the main objective of Jal Jeevan mission to provide tap water connections to every rural household by 2024 with a focus on sustainability, equity, and quality of water supplies. Yes. Okay. Sir, for implementation of this, there are 5 steps are there. The first one is basically it is a state level implementation. Of course, it's a central government project. Anywhere the responsibility they have given to all the state governments to for planning, execution, monitoring of this water supply projects in all the rural areas. The second is funding. So the central government provides financial assistance to the government in the form of grant in aid. the funding is allocated for every state of the country. And the third one is technology interventions. So there, it is also initiated to provide some cost-effective technologies. Sir, regarding that, we can observe that this RO plants, reverse osmosis units, it is provided in almost all the industrial area, rural area. So through that, every people who are residing in rural area, they are getting the clean water or potable water through that technology, sir. Then after that, community participation. So it is also most important one. So in that also, it emphasizes community participation and ownership in planning, implementation, and management of water supply projects. And one more thing is monitoring and evaluation. So for that, the JJM incorporates a monitoring and evaluation mechanism to track progress, access, and quality of water supply services and ensure accountability and transparency in implementation. Okay, next one. Next slide. There. ಒಂದು ಕೇಸ್ ಸ್ಟಡಿ ಇದೆ. ಕೇಸ್ ಸ್ಟಡಿ ಬನ್ನಿ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್. Next. Yes, sir. Sir, here also I give one this one a case study in the rural area. Sir, this is Jalgan village. It is existing in Maharashtra state. So here earlier, sir, it was facing a lot of water scarcity problem regarding quality and also quantity. There to meet that, to overcome that problem, so they have implemented these strategies, sir. So among that, the strategies are water harvesting structures, micro irrigation systems, community awareness programs, water treatment facilities, formation of water committees. Next one. So due to this, whatever the problems, they are overcome that problem, and due to that implementation of that 5 schemes, the outcomes are that was increased the improved water access, enhanced agricultural productivity, community empowerment, and sustainable water management. So finally, whatever that scarcity of problem which was existing in the Jalgan village, so that was solved. So by practicing those initiatives and practices, and after that they have also experience of the Jalgan serves as a valuable model for other rural communities seeking to achieve sustainable water management and ensure the well-being of their inhabitants. Sir, regarding that integrated water resource management, it is most important one. So with the help of that only, it is possible to make the sustainability of the water and also to management of the water. So that mainly include the 5 key points. The first one is water resource issues accessed. Second one is water resources policy and strategy developed. Third one is integrated water resource management plan formulated. Fourth one is integrated water resource management plan implemented, previous is formulated, and fifth one is monitoring and evaluation of implementation. Next. Conclusion. Previous. Sir, overall, the conclusion of the sustainable water management, it plays the key priorities for the future include enhancing water efficiency, promoting conservation measures, protecting natural ecosystems, strengthening governance frameworks, fostering stakeholders collaboration, and investing in resilient infrastructure and innovative technologies. By adapting a forward thinking inclusive approach to water management, we can ensure the sustainable use and management of this precious resource, safeguarding water security, public health, environmental integrity, and socio-economic development for generation to come. Next one. Next. Sir, thank you. Sir, there are two, sir, video is there. If you permit,
Sir,
2 minutes, sir. Right, sir?
yeah.
Only.
Sir, sound is not actually coming because it's in part of PPT. Okay, sir. Actually, yeah, we will can share it in the group, sir. We'll share it to the staff.
Okay, sir.
Sir.
Sorry for inconvenience.
No. It's not. It's okay, sir. I thank you sincerely on behalf of all the participants here. And now, actually, we have a next section by Dr. N. Nalini. Nalini, I think you have joined, right?
Yes, I am joined. Good
Yeah,
evening to all of you. Good evening, Mr. Raj.
One second. I'll introduce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's my pleasure to have you on this occasion. She's talking on cyber security. Dr. N. Nalini, she's a professor, Department of Computer Science and Engineering, Nittai Meenakshi Institute of Technology, Yelahanka, Bangalore. She is received her MS from BITS Pilani in 1999 and PhD from VTU 2007. She has more than 27 years of experience and 20 years of research experience overlap. She has now numerous national and international publications to her credit, and she has got several awards. And she's also the recipient of a Distinguished Award, Professor Award from TechNext India 2017 in association with the CSI Mumbai chapter, and Best Professor in Computer Science and Engineering Award by 26th Business School Affair Divang Mehta National Education Awards. And she is a life member of several professional bodies. And then she is actually presented and she has chaired several sessions in conference. And she's also served as technical committee member and reviewer in various international conferences and has delivered technical talks at various institutions. She received a Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Teacher Excellence Award 2020 by Shikshat Kalyan Foundation, supported by ACT in New Delhi. She has graded successfully 11 PhD candidates and currently guiding 6 under VTU and the University of Mysore. And she has received funding for her research work from DST, ACT, RPS, and VGS successfully. And she has completed several projects. And she is heading the cultural activities of the institution and its Kannada Club, Chiguru. And she has filed, published, granted patents along with the research guidance. So she has also written various books, chapters. One of the chief editors for ERCI CA and ERCI CAM conference publications of Springer. Madam, it's our honor to have you on this occasion, and I hope you'll share your the knowledge to all our faculty and students. I welcome you once again. Now it's your turn to take up the session. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Raj. Thanks for the introduction. Thanks to, I can see principals, sirs of various engineering institutions and other participants. It's my honor to be part of this. I'll be speaking on the cyber security. As you all know, this is the current people are suffering because of lots of issues which is happening with respect to cyber. If we don't secure the cyber, people are falling prey to a lot of problems actually. Hope my slide is visible.
Yes, madam, it is.
Okay, thank you. So these are the things I will be sharing. Some case studies, lots of case studies are there actually with respect to cyber security. Few I have taken it from the newspapers. I'll be talking about that. And then information security threats and tools, cyber crime, ransomware attack, which was the most recent one. People are talking about it. Apart from that, lot of other things are also happening in the society actually. Everybody should be aware of it actually. Not only as engineers, we may come across all these things and we become alert and we safeguard ourselves. And sometimes we also tell to our family members how to be safe against these kind of attacks. But most of the people in the society are not aware of this. Therefore, it is our responsibility to create a lot of awareness, and police also is taking a lot of, a lot of initiatives to create awareness among the public, actually, with respect to taking the help of students also, like police marshals or something like that. So all these things are happening, but still I can tell that it's only 1% of what is happening, but it is all our responsibility to safeguard ourselves against these cyber crimes. So then I'll be talking about the cybersecurity threats. There is also MITRE attack, MITRE attack, what we call it as, and Lockheed Martin cyber kill chain is one of the case study. How it happens, that is told in that. And then social engineering techniques, also how people use social engineering techniques to make the victims, actually, to get the money, or a lot of things are happening with respect to the cyber world. It is not that I'm sitting behind a computer and I can do anything. That is how the people are thinking, actually. The world will not know what I am trying to do, how I am trying to fool the people, how I am trying to extort the people with respect to so many things which is happening. But it is the responsibility of on the other side also, the educated people, the police, the cyber police, etc., to how to counter attack all those things is what one should be knowing, actually. So some case studies. We all know that there was a FedEx scam which is happening, and now also it is happening. Then people are talking about this DHL. These are the international delivery, courier delivery agencies, actually. So after FedEx, crooks in Bangalore dropped DHL name to cheat the DO. So I'll just read it out how they are trying to do all these things. Cyber crooks, whom we call it as cyber criminals, would invoke the name of FedEx to threaten people that consignments in their names have drugs, and are now using the name of logistics major DHL to cheat the gullible and extort the money. So who will not fear, right, hearing the word of the drugs? So therefore, they talk so professionally on the other side. It's a teamwork from their side, actually, the cyber criminals. So the way they talk, everybody should think that, okay, cyber police only or somebody from the customs office only they're trying to talk, because they would have collected all the information of yours and they're trying to give out all the information about you, and you start believing that, actually. So therefore, they start using the name of the drugs, and it is in your name. There is a lot of credit cards in your name in this consignment, etc., etc. They start talking about it. And if you want to come out of it, you'll have to pay so much of amount. All these things are happening, actually. So at least half a dozen such cases have been reported in the city since early February. 2 of them reported at East CN police station, saw fraudsters fleecing rupees 34.5 lakh from a software engineer and rupees 9 lakh from architect, after claiming that consignments sent by the DHL were addressed to them. How do they collect all our information? Because they know through these courier services only, sometimes you would have left our information on the social media or somewhere else unknowingly. They collect all the informations, and using those information, they try to threaten us. They try to attack us with this kind of taking the amount from us. So you can just see 34.5 lakh in one shot. They're trying to get away with that. This is only a small amount, actually. Like that, we don't know how many people are falling as a prey to these cyber attacks, actually. So there's another case where in Mumbai, Dombivli resident loses rupees 76 lakh in single day in a KYC fraud. Know your customer, right? So the call comes from the other side saying that you're not filled that information, you're not filled this information. If you don't do it by this time, all your amount will be lost. Something like that they start telling, actually. So I'll just read it out. A 44-year-old man lost rupees 76 lakh in a single day after falling prey to KYC update fraud. In his police complaint, the Dombivli resident said that he received a WhatsApp message from an unknown number more than 2 weeks ago. The sender asked him to update his PAN card to prevent his bank account from getting blocked. This is how they use the trick, actually. If you don't update it, so your account will be blocked forever, something like that, start that strategies. So later in the day, the complainant got a call from the con, who posed as a bank official. So they'll be so professional in their talking that you can't deny that somebody criminal is talking on the other side. The latter told the man to install an app for updating the KYC and then sent a malicious link. He downloaded the app unknowing that he gave fraudsters remote access to his phone. So these are the malicious link which will grab all the information what he's trying to do, and using that information, they try to threaten or they try to blackmail or whatnot, right? So soon after, rupees 76 lakh got debited in 30 transactions. Without his notice, he has given his information to those fraudsters, and they got away with this rupees 76 lakh. So one should be very, very careful before clicking any link. So that is the message contained in this case study actually. There is another case study which is very interesting, where 5,000 Indians are forced into cyber slavery in Cambodia. So this Ministry of Home Affairs discusses rescue strategy. How this is happening is over 5,000 Indians are trapped in Cambodia, where they are allegedly being held against their will and forced to carry out cyber frauds on people back home. They were made to do all these things actually. The government estimates that fraudsters have allegedly duped people of at least rupees 500 crore in India over the past 6 months, it seems. So therefore, all these people, Ministry of Home Affairs, Ministry of External Affairs, and Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, Indian Cybercrime Coordination Center, all these are our Indian major things. So they coordinated among this and try to bring those forced slaves, like cyber slaves, to our India. So these are the things which are happening, and we are unaware of all these things actually, but things are happening like this. Again, 25 youths go to Thailand for high-paying jobs, forced to commit cyber fraud from Laos to held. The same case, similar case actually. So with the help of the Indian embassy in Laos, one of the Indians who is a Thane student, Siddharth Yadav, returned back to the country. The Mumbai police have arrested 2 persons after it emerged that over 25 Indians were lured with high-paying jobs in Thailand, but taken to Laos, where they were forced to commit cyber fraud, an official said on Tuesday. There is also, we have heard of these OTP scams, then somebody on the threatening of this this kind of drugs or something like that only, they will be made to sitting in a home only, in the home only, they're supposed to not to move out anywhere actually. So it's a lock kind of a thing, locking at home itself, but they're supposed to give out the money, etc. So these kind of things are also happening because the kind of people on the other side, they're so professional, and the way they talk, anybody can fall as a prey to them actually. So like this, all these things are happening through the cyber world. Cyber is nothing but what we're talking. We are using the computers, and nowadays for everything we should use the computers, right? We are also dependent on the computers, our smartphones, mobile apps, etc. Without that, our life is a halt actually. So we're so accustomed to that, but sometimes we fall as a prey to these kind of activities of the cyber criminals. So one should be very, very careful before opening any link in the messages, link in the WhatsApps. If you only know, if it is coming from only the person whom you know, only then you are supposed to open that up. So these are the things which are happening, and one should be very, very alert. Otherwise, one is supposed to be losing the large amount of money. Not only that, but there are other cases like sextortions, blackmailing things. All these things are happening actually. So one should be very, very careful. So those were about some of the case studies. There's also QR code scams. They would have heard about OLX scams. So all these things are happening, and people are very, very smart. Those who are trying to do those kind of fraud. You will not be knowing actually this way also the things can happen, but they would have already learned it, and they're trying to use it against the public actually. So what in this slide we are trying to see here is, so it is only the surface of the web what we are trying to use over here. So below that there is a deep web actually, semi-bad guys, those are using that, advanced users who are using that. Below that is a dark web actually. So it is used by all illegal trafficking, illegal money laundering, all these things are used in this dark web actually. So it is purposely hidden and inaccessible through standard browsers and methods. So these are the threat actors, nation, states, and bad guys. So the same thing in detail is given over here. What happens in the surface web is there's a Google, Wikipedia, blogs, e-commerce, your YouTube, Facebook, websites, etc. That's what we are accustomed to, right? With normal people, we all know all these things. But below that, there is a deep web. So where there is a net banking, a lot of things are happening on the pro side and the con side also. So research papers, medical records, private forums, private networks, hidden wiki, all these things are on the deep web. Coming to this dark web, you can see there's a Tor. This is a special browser actually, onion symbol browser, Tor, but we can't use that actually. So it is a illegal information. It is called as a Silk Road for the fraudsters actually. They do all kind of illegal activities using this dark web. Anonymous people will be there over there. So this is how the actual web looks like. So surface web, we are the normal people who are using. Deep web, there's some other things are happening. Dark web is the one where majority of these crimes are happening. So how to protect against these kind of cyber crimes, right? So there is a lot of things, so one can look into it. If you're looking at the organization, if you're using your mobile phone, if you want to safeguard your mobile phone, or if you want to safeguard your individual laptop, lot of things are available. So let us see to it one by one. So there is a perimeter security, there is a network security, there is an endpoint security, there is an application security, data securities. Each one of them will have their own applications and algorithms. So if you install those softwares, so they will take care of the things. But you should know which one to install for your organization or for your mobile or for your laptop. So accordingly, you should go ahead with that. So you can see some words like honeypot is there, message security is there, antivirus, anti-malware. So secure DMs, demilitarized zones, those are called as. So perimeter, IDS, IPS, intrusion detection systems. So perimeter firewall, these are the words associated with providing security to the cyber world. So a lot of other policy management should also be there. Operations should also be there. Mission critical assets, we need to safeguard them, right? So monitoring and response. So like this, lot of features are available and one should be using in their own organization. And if it comes to your laptop, you should know which one to install. If it is for mobile, you should know which one to install. So like this, awareness should be created amongst the people. So not to fall as a prey to these kind of activities. So coming to what is actually cybersecurity, it is a practice of defending computers, servers, mobile devices, electronic systems, networks, and data from malicious attacks. It is also known as information technology security or electronic information security. By itself, it is a very big area of study actually. So what I'm trying to tell you is the gist of it, so that some awareness can be created. So a lot of associated subjects are also there. If one wants to become an expert in this, so they can take out cybersecurity itself is a specialization area and they can venture into that. So there's, as I mentioned, there's a network security, application security, information security, operation security. Each one will have its own functionalities to do that. Say, for example, network security, it is a practice of securing a computer network from intruders, whether targeted attackers or opportunistic malwares. So like that, the software should identify who is trying to do what and accordingly safeguard against these kind of attacks. So then coming to this information security threats and some tools, we know that information is a thing one is supposed to be safeguarding, right? Information can be anything. It can be textual information, it can be image, it can be video, audio, anything, right? So it is available in the computer or in the network of an organization, and one should try to protect it. So therefore, there will be a lot of threats actually for it. So in order to know that information security, there are three principles which collectively known as the CIA triad. That is nothing but confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So this thing has to be maintained. Actually, when we say that security is given means these things has to be maintained. CIA should be maintained. What is confidentiality? Access to information should be restricted to authorized individuals only. Unauthorized individuals should never be given access. So therefore, confidentiality breaches give outsiders and individuals with revoked authorization access to data or occur in inappropriate settings such as public spaces. That's why people tell, no, if you are in the airport or if you're in the railway station, don't try to use the free Wi-Fi which is available over there. It is not secure. So therefore, always use your mobile data only because you are registered with that, and whatever happens is logged actually. So all the log information will be there. So you will be on a safer side actually, though not 100% completely. At least you will be safer and compared to public Wi-Fi areas. So coming to this integrity, information should not be modified or deleted except by those with authorizations. Therefore, what is sent should be received as it is. Nothing should happen in between. So therefore, integrity of the information should be maintained. So there are a lot of algorithms, protocols, or softwares which is already available in order to ensure all these things. One should be using that. Then availability, information can be accessed by authorized users quickly and without undue hassle in a usable format. So this requires that storage and processing system, security controls, and means of delivery are functioning as intended. If I am the authorized user, if I request for something, the server should be able to provide within a few fractions of second. There should not be any denial of service, what we call is DOS attacks. There should not be any DOS attacks or DDoS attacks should not happen. Then malicious, another word which is used with respect to cyber security, can be either intentional as in sabotaging or opportunistic taking advantage of circumstances such as insufficient user training. So like that, I'm highlighting some of the things which are associated with this cybersecurity world. In detail, one can look into it later onwards. And viruses, worms, trojans, bots, adware, spam, all these things are associated with the threats actually. So viruses can corrupt data or execute programs once a device is infected. They are bits of code that are self-replicating and attached to otherwise legitimate files and spread through file sharing or file transfer. When you open the file, the viruses also infect your systems. Similarly, worms, there's a Trojan attack, what we call it as. It's work by concealing malicious code within a benign software. We trust that software. When we open that, it will have a lot of unwanted code which will affect your system. Then bots also, they are used in denial of service attacks, as I mentioned earlier. DOS attacks. So they start working autonomously actually. So they start spreading viruses, infections, worms, trojans, etc. And that's how they block the usage. So then adwares already you might have seen. So, say suppose in your mobile phone, if you are searching in Flipkart or Amazon, something, already in your Facebook, all those things will be coming, right? Though you want it or not want it, already that kind of system is installed in the system. So maybe in the Facebook, you might have already observed a lot of advertisements coming over there, right? Unwantedly. So this is a breach of privacy. Then spams, spywares will be there, ransomware. Ransomware is an encrypt files or otherwise denies access to data until a condition is met, usually a paid ransom. They will lock your system only. In order to release that, you will have to pay hefty amount because all your information is there in your system. Without that, you cannot run your day-to-day life at all. Because working scenarios, you need a lot of information, right? So therefore, these kind of tactics the fraudsters will be using. You'll have to pay hefty ransoms so in order to release yourselves. So then rootkits. So rootkits is administrative privileges. Again, that will be taken out. All these things are the possibilities with respect to information security and threats. So then I have this cybercrime. Again, some of the other which terminology that I did not speak in the previous slides are mentioned over here. So it's broadly defined as illegal activity that involves a computer, another digital device, or a computer network. So like that, lot of examples. Again, one such example, I'll just read it out because lack of shortage of time. In 2017, the WannaCry attack, allegedly launched by North Korea, unleashed a type of ransomware which not only locks down content on user devices, but also rapidly spreads itself. WannaCry infected 3 lakh computers around the world. Just imagine, right? The users were asked to pay hundreds of dollars to decrypt and restore their data. This is another ransomware attack only. So like that, lot of things are happening. There is another DDoS attack. Then there is a Home Depot's point of sale systems were breached. Then in 2013 and 16, Yahoo experienced a data breach which resulted in theft of 3 billion user accounts. So these are all the part of the cybercrime actually. So botnets, already spoken about that, ransomware, then phishing attacks. So one should be very, very careful, Phishing involves sending misleading messages via email or other channels that cause internet users to provide personal information, access malicious websites, or download malicious payloads. So if you unknowingly click on those links, then all your information will be collected by them. Then they will later use it for so many other illegal purposes, and you will be held responsible for that. Phishing attack. Then fraud and identity theft. So your identity theft is nothing but they will take your credentials actually. So I don't know how they will take it, but there are a lot of ways to take your credential. They start using your credential, password, a user ID and password, then start interacting with others. They send obscene messages. They can go to your accounts and take out all the money. All these things are possibility with respect to fraud and identity theft. Then flood attacks like DDoS attacks, then browser hijacking. So attacks like cross-site scripting, we call it as, can cause malicious code to run in a user's browser, right? This is called a session hijacking, drive-by downloads, another illicit activity carried out in the user's browser without their consent. So one should be very, very careful. We should have installed antivirus and anti-malware softwares. That is the most beginning thing actually. And all your files, your emails, etc. should be password protected. Access control permission should be very securely and safely to be given and only should be known to you. Okay, don't give passwords like small 123, 456 or QWERTY, QWERTY, which can be easily guessable. Don't give your family a person's name also as a password. All those things are easily guessable, right? So therefore, there's a standard way of giving the passwords also, if you have observed. So sometimes the web browser itself will give the security of that password actually, green or blue or yellow or something like that, right? You might have observed it. So, but you should remember that don't write it anywhere here and there on a piece of paper and forget it, because that might fall into the hands of we don't know whom and all. They start using your credentials and they can do anything, right? So therefore, one should be very, very careful when using that. So recovery, lessons learned, all those things are there, but one should be very, very careful when using these computers. Then ransomware attack also, I already told about that. So they do all these things: campaign, infection, staging, scan, encrypt, and payday. So this is how they systematically try to target you and lock your system. And to release that, they will ask money to release that. Okay. Then social engineering is another way of doing that. Malvertising. Attackers can buy ad space on a popular social media and online advertising websites and load them with ad infected by viruses, spyware, malware. So if you go and click those ads, users are directed to malicious servers. Then exploit kits is another way, how they exploit you. Then drive-by downloads is another way. So whom and all these ransomware attackers target? Academic organization, colleges and universities, government agencies, healthcare hospitals, because those are the sensitive informations which are available in those areas, right? So they try to target them and ask for hefty amounts. Then these are the another some terminologies like scareware, fake security softwares, encrypting ransomware, screen locking ransomware, doxware. This type of ransomware threatens to publish stolen sensitive files or photos online unless the ransom is paid, right? You might have stored some information or some photos of yours in your system or mobile. So if this is done, they will exploit all those things. Then how to stop? So educate, gateway defenses, user anti-phishing test and awareness training programs, exploit prevention. So there's a pros, some ways of doing that, right? We should stop that. How to do that? All these things also can be learned into. So then cybersecurity threats, again, distributed denial of service, man-in-the-middle attacks. This is another terminology which is used in cybersecurity threats. Sender and the receiver, in between another person will come. He will act as though he is the sender, and the receiver does not know that and give away all the credentials to that person. And he gets away with that and start using your credential. By the time you get to know, I think lots of money would have gone by the time you raise a complaint, right? And social engineering, I'll be talking about that. Malwares and spywares, again, these are the softwares only. So they're malicious softwares. And spywares, whatever you do, whatever you talk, we don't know. In our mobile also, it might be there already. Spywares, if you talk about, as I told, Amazon, some washing machine, right? So you might be talking about that with respect to your family members, but already you see those advertisements in the Facebook. So therefore, spywares are already installed in that. So one should be very, very careful about what we are trying to talk over the phone. Then password attacks, then advanced persistent threats, all these things are the threats. Then botnets, Smurf attack sends internet control message protocol, this is ICMP protocol, echo request to the victim's IP addresses. So this is a spoofed IP address, and attackers automate this process and perform it at scale to overwhelm the target systems. Like that, lot of things are there. TCP sync flood attack, then teardrop attack, ping of death attack. So these are the various, with respect to protocols, okay? Pings, a target system using malformed or oversized IP packets, causing the target system to crash or freeze. So this is again, it's an attack only, right? So like this, things are happening. Then man in the middle attack, I told intercept, the middleman intercept what is being communicated and gets away with the credentials. Then session hijacking is another thing. Replay attack is another thing. IP spoofing is another thing. Eavesdropping attack. It just gone listening what is been happening between the sender and the receiver, right? So eavesdrop is nothing but just observe what is happening. So these things are the which is happening. Then malware and spyware attacks, then password attacks, brute force password guessing, dictionary attack. These are the things associated with the attacks, how they do that, okay? Then MITRE attack and Lockheed Martin cyber kill chains. This is a systematic attack actually. If you can see it here, there's a step-by-step process, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like that, right? So what they do, reconnaissance, it's collecting the information actually, then weaponization, what needs to be done, that they will strategize, then delivery, exploitation, installation of the viruses, then command and control. Once they have the control, then they will control you. Then actions and the objectives. This is a systematic attack actually. So like this, also the cyber fraudsters will do. Then initial access, execution, persistence, privilege escalation, defense evasion, credential access, discovery, lateral movement, collection, exfiltration, command and control. Just imagine the way it is being done, right? So this is how it happens. Then lastly, I will talk about the social engineering technique. This is another way of gaining the information with respect to individual or the organization. Social engineering is an attempt by attackers to fool or manipulate humans into giving up access, credentials, banking details, or other sensitive information. As I mentioned in the case studies, like know your customer, right? KYC details. So they start talking like as though they're officials, and their tone, the way they talk, all those things gives an impression to on the other side who is listening as though it is coming from their bank only. And they try to give away with all the information, right? This is a social engineering techniques. Then research, the attacker performs reconnaissance on the, reconnaissance is nothing but collecting information on the target to gather information like organizational structure, roles, behaviors, and things that target individuals may respond to. Attackers can collect data via company websites, social media profiles, and even in-person visits. So then they plan, then they execute. So all these things happens through social engineering techniques. The top 5 social engineering techniques are phishing. First one is phishing. In a phishing attack, an attacker uses message sent by email, social media, instant messaging clients, or SMS to obtain sensitive information from a victim or trick them. This is what happens, tricking them. They lure them to click some particular link, okay, into a malicious website. So phishing message gets victim's attention and call to action by arousing curiosity, asking for help, or pulling other emotional triggers, right? So these are the techniques they use. That's why we call it as a social engineering techniques. Obviously, we are all human beings, right? When we see that, okay, you have won $10,000 in the lottery, who will not get attention to it, right? That is one thing. Another one is asking for help. That is also there, right? My child is dying due to cancer or something like that. Can you help me out? That also will trigger you, right? So you try to help them by clicking. You want to pay something to them. Therefore, you click that link. So therefore, you will be in the trouble. So like this are the emotional triggers they try to use it, okay? They often use logos, images, or textiles to spoof an organization's identity, making it seem like message originates from a work colleague, the victim's bank, or other official channel. So phishing attack, whenever you're trying to click something, no, it looks like it's original only. You will not differentiate between it is coming from attackers. So you think that it is coming from a original bank or something like that, or original colleague, work colleague or something like that. You believe that, and therefore you click that. So these are the phishing attacks, okay? So like this. Then watering hole is another technique. Again, some methods they will use, and whaling attack is another technique. Then pretexting, baiting, and quid pro quo attacks. So in a baiting attack, baiting is nothing, the fish baiting, what we do, no? In a similar way only. So in a baiting attack, attackers provide something that victims believe to be useful. This may be a supposed software update, which in fact is a malicious file, an infected USB token with a label indicating it contains valuable information, and other methods. So like that they bait you. So therefore you fall as a prey to that. So like that, lot of things are there. Then wishing attack is another thing. Voice phishing is similar to phishing, but it is performed by calling victims over the phone. So that's why we call it as a wishing. Voice phishing is nothing but wishing. Okay. Then scareware displays notices on a user's device that trick them into thinking they have a malware infection and need to install software that attacks malware to clean their system. So that kind of messages we might have got it already, right? So, but we should ignore them unless you procure through a proper proprietor. Then only you should use those kind of softwares. So they will try to say that your system is infected. We are giving it for free. Install this software; it will clean immediately. Like that, the wordings they will use. So therefore, if it is free, obviously people will feel good about it, right? Anything comes free for us, we feel good about it. So therefore, they start thinking that why can't we install that? Just clicking a link, no. So let me click that and install it. So my job is done. So like that they think, but they are falling as a prey to these kind of softwares. Then diversion theft, honey trap, tailgating. So all these things are with respect to the terminology associated with this cyber security. So antivirus and endpoint security tools, in the beginning slide I showed, right? So many the ways of protecting our information, layers of protection, what we call it as, or defense in depth protection, what we call it as. But one should know what is required for smartphone, what is required for laptop, what is required for LAN, what is required for WAN, and to the organization. Like that only checkpoints we should install what is required. Antivirus, anti-malware, firewalls we should not be installing it in the system. So there will be special servers. So at the organization level, at the boundaries level, that should be installed. So like that, one should be aware of what to do, when to do, and how to do it. So this kind of awareness should be there. And public, with respect to public and elderly people in the home. Say nowadays, we know that most of them are in the working children are outside the country, right? And we are left with the elderly people in the houses. So they are depending on these mobiles. To some extent, they know how to use it. But all of a sudden, if they get a call saying that you have won a trip to some Australia, some Manali or something like that, then they will fall a prey to that, right? Then the next the person asks, an OTP might have come to your mobile. You give that, immediately will send a ticket to you. So like that, they try to attract them. So this kind of Jamtara, something like that, some movie was also there based on all these things. So like that, some awareness is required to be created among the public, not to fall as a prey to this kind of attacks actually. So therefore, our information, our account, our bank account, our family information, etc., are very valuable to us, and one should know how to protect that without falling as a prey to the cyber attacks. Because cyber world, nobody knows what is happening, right? So therefore, one should be very, very careful before opening a link, before giving a OTP, double confirm it, whether it is required to do that. If it is that you who initiated that action, only then you should try to see whether it is genuine or not. Only then you're supposed to click or give the OTP. So like that, this QR code scam is also there. OLX scam was there. Lot of scam is there actually. So every day, one or the other incidences we try to hear. But one should be very, very careful with respect to this cyber world and the cyber security. So we should ensure cyber security is there. And also there's a helplines are there. If one falls as a prey to this, immediately you should raise a complaint with the cyber police actually. And cyber forensics is another area where people are working towards it. So like that, lot of areas are there. So I just try to touch upon the basic concepts of the cyber security so that some awareness one can create it. So stay safe. That is what I can tell. So thank you for giving this wonderful opportunity. I'm grateful to my colleague, my classmate, T.J. Basuraj, sir. Thank you so much. And any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Thank you, Nalini, for your informative session. I request audience, do you have any questions? We'll take a couple of questions. Any question from audience? No, they can raise that, no, they can raise your hand so that will allow you to speak.
Yeah.
I think there are no questions, Dr. Nalini. Thank you very much for your valuable time. And that
Thank you.
And it
Thank
was,
you all. Thanks. Thank you
yeah.
so much. Yeah.
Yeah, it was very much, enlightening session on cybersecurity, which is very much required because I think, because of this AI and ML, there are a lot of, changes, manipulations, or malfunctions can happen.
Yeah, because of AI, lot of things are happening
Yeah,
actually.
yeah. Anybody
Deep fake, all those
I-
things are happening. One should be very, very
Yeah,
careful.
yeah. We will get a call from you saying that I know there will be impersonation of voice, even image or video. Definitely,
Correct.
yeah, definitely it will be alarming time for all of us. And right time, you just enlighten us by providing fundamentals and importance of cybersecurity and how to handle when there are any problems. So I'm on behalf of our higher education department and DTE and all the officials and staffs and students. I thank you sincerely once again, and it's our pleasure to have you on this occasion on this AROHAN series. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you, Basudhara. Thanks to all of you. I'll be exiting because I'll have to go home now.
Please,
So I'm in the college only. So
Yeah.
excuse me. Thank you
Thank
all.
you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So we have a next session by our own resource person, own staff from Director of Technical Education, Dr. Guru Prasad M. Mugar. We have, he is talking on cultural connecting classroom with community, a different topic altogether. If I just try to read out his topic title. And it's my pleasure to just introduce him to this August gathering. And he's actually an assistant professor in the Department of Civil Engineering, Government Engineering College, Haveri, and also is taking care of NSS coordinator at state level, DTE Bangalore. And he has guided already one scholar for PhD in civil engineering at BTU. And he has taken a lot of responsibilities. In fact, functioned as a member of editorial board for 7 years, published in the remembrance of 50 years of NSS. Propose and sanction, recognize, appreciate, and facilitate the best community-based real-time projects undertaken by NSS at the state level. And is initiated a life skill training in collaborating with the NIMANS for faculty of government engineering colleges and government polytechnics, with emphasis on integrated mental and physical development. And he has taken a lot of responsibilities ongoing, functioning as a reviewer for sustainable water resources management and in an International Journal of Spring publication. I welcome on behalf of all the staff and students. I voluntarily welcome you, Dr. Guru Prasad, and I can take your the C culture connects and classroom community to all the staffs and students. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Many thanks for your introduction. Very good evening to all the esteemed audience gathered here. Today, I'll be sharing my practices done here under the header of the culture that connects classroom with the community. We, the citizens of Bharat, are the nature worshippers, basically. We, from our ancestors, have been taught to worship and safeguard the nature. We basically worship the 5 elements, namely the sky, the air, the water, the fire, and the earth. So since water represents the non-manifested substratum from which all the manifestations derive, and what is considered to be the purifier, the life giver, and the destroyer of evil, we, the citizens of this nation, have the immense importance given to the water. As the civilization grow on the banks of the river, and we are the oldest and the only prevailing civilization, that is the Indus Valley civilization globally now. Whether it is in the name of God, the Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesha, they all one or the other way have their presence with the water. Whether it is Puranas, or whether it is the Dashavatara, or whether it is the puja that is performed at the home, or whether it is the Samudra Manthan, or whether it is getting river Ganga from heaven to the earth, or the point of the or the death time, water plays an immense role. So with this, the science has been taught to us in the form of the truth imbibed rituals. We from our ancestors have been taught this science, that's the origin of life, in the form of the Dashavatara. The Matsyavatara, which symbolizes that the life started its origin from water. Then comes the development, the amphibian life started, which is symbolized by the Kurma Avatara, Kurma, that is a tortoise. Then comes the Varaha Avatara, which is symbolizing the terrestrial form of the life. Then comes the Narsimha Avatara, which defines the phase of movement from the animal life to the human life. Then comes the Parashurama, who symbolizes the onset of the Stone Age or the Metal Age. Then comes the Rama, the beginning of the societal life. Then comes the Krishna, the beginning of the statesmanship. And currently, we are into the age of Kalki, and we are called the superhumans, wherein we can create anything, we can clone anything, we can hybrid anything, we can design and destroy anything. So all this form of technology were taught to us through the rituals. That is why I said the rituals, what we have inculcated from our ancestors, were truth imbibed. And we were taught about the 9 planets in the form of the Navagraha Aradhana. We were taught about the fragmentation of the white light into 7 colors called Vibjyar through the Suryapasana. And we have never been taught, in the name of origin of evolution of life, we have never been taught about the survival of fittest, neither. Instead, we are taught about the coexistence. The picture here of the family of Lord Shiva is very much clear that we, the citizens of this nation, we believe and we do practice in the coexistence. The Vahana of Lord Shiva is Nandi, and Vahana of Goddess Parvati is the lion. Whereas the Nandi is prey to the lion. Nandi is prey to the lion. Likewise, the vehicle of Lord Ganesha is the mouse, and which is prey to the snake that is there on the neck of Lord Shiva. And whereas a snake is prey to the Vahana of Kartikeya, that is the peacock. So in this way, we were taught about the coexistence through the rituals. And how was this knowledge imbibed? How was this achieved? So this was basically through the Gurukula system of education that basically taught us the truth. The basic system of education was imbibed at the Gurukulas, and later on, soon after the basic system of education was delivered, the group of students who were interested in the higher learning were divided into 4 groups called the Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. Those group of students who were interested in the field of academics, they were called Brahmana, and they were taught the academic related activities in their higher learning. Those group of students who were interested in the warfare, they were grouped as Kshatriyas, and they were given the higher learning in the warfare. Those group of students who were interested in the trade and commerce, they were grouped as the Vaishyas, and they were given the higher learning in the trade and commerce. And at last, it is the Shudras who were trained to perform as a service providers for all these 3 sects. The Shudras were given the knowledge of academics, they were given the knowledge of Kshatriya, they were also given the knowledge of the trade and commerce, so that they should serve the above 3 sectors. So here I present a few of those scientists, those group of academicians, the alumni of the Gurukula. They are before you. The Bodhayana, whose theory was taught to us in the form of the Pythagoras theorem. The Brahmagupta, the mathematician who introduced the negative numbers. Rishi Kapila, who taught us about the cosmology. Rishi Bhaskara, who introduced the cyclic method of algebra. Varahamira, who did discover the presence of water in the planet Mars. The Lagada, the person who had his immense contribution made in astronomy. Rishi Kanada, the person behind the atomic theory. Maharshi Patanjali, the person behind the yoga. Rishi Charaka, the father of medicine. Likewise is Rishi Shushrata, the father of surgery. So these were few of the academicians who were the alumni of the Gurukula. And we, by the very practice, if one can see, the Indian patents are very less globally, because we do not have the habit of keeping things hidden. We will elaborately disclose them. So any of the findings of these earlier rishis are yet this day open to everyone. So now the nation of Bharat was so technically advanced then. I can quote few of the examples. The picture at the left top corner is of Barbarika. Barbarika was the grandson of Bhima and the son of Ghatotkacha, who had the superpower of using 3 arrows n number of times. The function of one arrow, the first arrow was to mark the target. The function of the second arrow was to mark the places beyond the target. And the function of the third arrow was to destroy the target which was fixed by the first one. I can quote the example of Mahabharata, wherein during the discussion, well before the Kurukshetra war began, there were the discussion going on as to how long this Kurukshetra war would commence. Then, having entered the discussion, Barbarika said, this Kurukshetra war can end in a second of time. So people gathered were astonished hearing to him. Then Lord Krishna wanted to test his words. Then Barbarika has showcased the usage of the 3 weapons. Weapon number 1 to identify the target, arrow number 2 to identify which is not the target, and arrow number 3 to hit the target what was defined by the first one. So this was lively shown by Barbarika to Krishna when Krishna told to show his knowledge on the people tree. So Krishna ordered Barbarika to destroy all the leaves of the people tree. Then, when the first arrow was shot, the first arrow marked all the leaves of the people tree, and which were fixed as the target. And the second arrow, when it was shot, it did mark the surrounding areas of the people tree. And when the third arrow was, well before the third arrow was shot, Lord Krishna removed one of the leaf from the people tree and he kept it below his feet. No sooner the third arrow was shot, the third arrow destroyed all the leaves of the people tree, and it just came and stood before the Lord Krishna's leg. And no sooner the Lord Krishna lifted his leg, the last leaf of that people tree was also destroyed. So this is the target hit. This is the precise target hit. The same technology was utilized by the Indian Air Force. The very next picture by the Indian Air Force when the attack was made on the Pakistan-occupied Kashmir at the Balakot. So this was taught to us in the form of rituals by our ancestors. And the picture below is of Eklavya. I will not go deep into it. Eklavya did learn his archery not directly through his guru, but instead his idol was made and the practice was made. So this can be resemblance of the virtual classroom what we are studying now. So during his practice, one day you can see one of the picture wherein the dog's mouth is filled with a number of arrows. During the practice, the barking dog was disturbing Eklavya during his archery. So Eklavya shut the mouth of the dog by continuously firing n number of arrows into the mouth. So no sooner his practice was accomplished, Eklavya removed all the arrows one by one, and it was so astonishing that none of the arrow had the blood on it. So that was the precision of Eklavya into the level of millimeters. Technologically, we did see the bombs, the atomic bombs, the nuclear bombs in the warfares of the Kurukshetra or at the Ramayana, wherein the current day weapons were in the earlier days named after various astras. We did also had the Vimanas then. We also have the Vimanas now. The science has not to this day reached. The last picture, what you see is the process of the birth of 100 Kauravas. None of them were born in the womb of a mother. Instead, all the 101 Kauravas were brought up into the mud pots. This was the technology we then had. The current day advanced science is yet to reach. How was this knowledge imbibition possible? This knowledge imbibition was possible through the world-class system of education which our nation had then. The university system of education, the universities of the global standard we then had. So this pointed or this attracted the scholars from abroad. So many scholars from the different nations had their higher education done in the universities of our ancient India. So to name few are Ratnagiri, Vikramashila, Jagadala, Nalanda, Odantapuri, Somapura, Vikrampura, Vallabhi. They were one such. To name few, there were the most global standard universities. So there is a saying: to destroy the health of a village, one have to pollute the well. To destroy a nation, one have to pollute the education system. So with this thought, the invaders destroyed our system of education. All our universities were destroyed. They were powdered. So the invasion destroyed the Gurukulas and thus the ancient inherited knowledge. And soon after the invasions, we are now into the new set of education policy, which did come into force after the invaders made it. And the current system of education, in the name of higher education, in the name of best education, we are just producing the servants. The current system of education hardly has any emphasis given for the bringing up the proprietors. The current system of education has produced more number of solution givers than the solution, has produced more number of solution seekers than the solution givers. So in this regard, the Department of Technical Education then, with a circular, directed the polytechnics across the state to volunteer the NSS activities with the proper vision and mission, so as to cater the possible problems from the surrounding society. So with this, the strength, opportunities, and the strategies were planned. And then I traveled across the state with the intention of JUM. So JUM here is giving education a real meaning. Nowadays, we have reached the moon, but we hardly have reached our neighborhood. We can fly like a bird in the sky. We can swim like a fish in the river. We can swim like the fish, but we have forgotten to live like a human. So, as one of the basic necessities of our accreditation policy, the education should go beyond just remembering and understanding to innovate and create. With this thought, I did travel across the state for various polytechnics through NSS and showcase the strength of our nation. So as you can see, based on the population, various nations can be fit into various states of our nation. And we, as a nation, have 3% of the land, 6% of the water resource, and we are part of 17% of the global population. And we have the world record of launching 104 satellites at once. And we, the Indian origins, are the one who have created the emails. And we are the fourth powerful military base globally. And many of the Indian origins are now heading the global standard companies. And with this prelude about the strength, I did showcase the creativity-oriented tasks. The figures here are very self-explanatory. Very minute changes in the thoughts can bring a lot of changes into the surrounding. The heavy luggages which were once posing a huge problem in carrying, a small thought of making them align with the wheel made them easy for the carrying of a heavy luggage. Then comes the exoskeleton, which did minimize the stress load on the human. Though in this area of artificial intelligence cannot easily overtake the humans, as the artificial intelligence work on the specified algorithms. So the current day is the creativity driven. So the future in this regard is always creativity driven. The small thought of applying the bearings for a large water tank has eased carrying thousands or hundreds of liters of water in the dry areas with no stress. The usage of the waste plastic bottles for the temporary structures or for the compounds or for the source of light is also the part of a small creativity. One can generate electricity by the air or by the muscular motion. So like this, very few examples were quoted one by one across the state when did I visit the polytechnics, and wherein I did request to take forward this legacy, our ancestor legacy, through the students, so that it can reach or it can cater the societal needs as the order from the department. So with this, a small step started with maintenance of the laboratories and with the small repair works that could be carried out by the students at the college level itself. So these are the first two images are from the Government Polytechnic Raichur and the SA Polytechnic Bangalore, wherein the desk or the bench repair works were made by the students in the presence of the technicians of the laboratories. So with this, because just to listen, it is a small step, but it is very sorry to say we have n number of degrees with us, but as a mechanical engineer, I fail to identify the problem what my car face. As a civil engineer, I fail to find out, or I fail to troubleshoot the leakages in a building or the failures on the roads. As a civil engineer, I might depend on another civil engineer to get it done. As an electrical engineer, I fail to repair my own electrical or electronic equipments at home. So this is what the current state of education is. So in this regard, irrespective of the quantum of work, whether it is slow, whether it is less or high, we started our first step with the repair of the desks at the college level. To quote few, they are the examples from the Polytechnic of Raichur and Bangalore, where the students successfully carried out the repair work of their entire colleges. They did repair the wooden desks. They also went with the welding and the riveting of the metal desks. Next, during the pandemic period, our students, in the presence of their staff and the laboratory technical experts, they did prepare the hands-free sanitizer. So this was the big achievement then. The hands-free sanitizer was developed by us, and at the Polytechnic of Vijaypur, BLD Polytechnic of Vijaypur, the students prepared the hands-free sanitizer, and it was gifted. Some 10 such equipments were gifted to the district administration then. So this is one such example from the same college, wherein the minor electrical repairs, whether it is fixing of the electrical equipments or it is the repair, it is solely done by the NSS volunteers or the students of that institute. As a part of social outreach, we also reach the nearby colleges, nearby schools and high schools. We will definitely maintain the labs. And this is one such example wherein the digital library was gifted to the nearby school. And as a part of social outreach, we carry out the Swachh Colony competition just to enhance the awareness on the cleanliness. We will organize the Swachh Colony competition among the various colonies of a village. And this is one such example wherein 50,000 cash prize was awarded for the colony, which performed very well. And also during the special camps which are carried out annually once in a year, we do carry out the repair works of the villages, whether it is electrical, electronics, or carpentry related works. All these works in the presence of the instructors will be carried out by the students, and these repair works will be done free of cost from the students to the villagers. So this has gained the momentum. This has gained the momentum of imbibing skill to the students. So along with this, along with imparting the technology and the social outreach, we also have imbibed the thought of giving back to the society. Since we do claim much from the society, it is our primary responsibility to give back the possible best to the society. In this regard, we did also campaign under the header Society Helper. Some people contributed by funding. Some people contributed by giving their used uniforms, used textbooks, used notes. This is how we are bridging the gap between the community and the academic. And then came the major breakthrough. This is one such example of the BLDS Polytechnic Vijaypur, wherein students by themselves, in the presence of the skilled laborers, they did construct the fountain, which imbibed the group of students from civil engineering, electrical engineering, and mechanical engineering. So these three group of students, they functioned together. They literally excavated earth with no modern equipments. With no modern equipments, they literally excavated the earth. They did build the structure. They did impart the pumps. They did make the electrical connections. And fascinatingly, with the help of the technicians, the entire fountain was controlled by the solar power. All this entire setup was approximately an asset of 8 lakh worth, which is yet today functioning at the same institute. This is purely done, operated and maintained by the students till date. So, joining in hands with the government, the students of Government Polytechnic Belgavi did build 132 toilets. Few of the toilets were built by the brick masonry, and many of them were assembled with the ready-made panels. So here, the knowledge of skilling the civil engineering did took place. Along with the skilling, we did help the government in making the village Marihal the open desertification free. And the asset of worth 12 lakhs was solely made by the volunteers of Government Polytechnic Belgaum. Example of another such polytechnic in the process of social outreach and in making the classroom reach the community, the students of Government Polytechnic Chintamani did come with a few of the thoughts of helping the farmers, the low income farmers, the farmer who is not in a position to purchase a tractor, who is not in a position to have his own bullocks managing the field. So to aid such low income based farmers, the NSS volunteers of that polytechnic prepared the manual triller. This was the multifunctional equipment which functioned as a triller, weed remover, and a plower. With the minimal cost of 2,000, the students made this multifunctional equipment for the low income farmers, and they did distribute it free of cost at the agriculture office of Chintamani. And along with this, they also showcased the detailed drawings and the operations. And yet to this day, the same facility is utilized by one of the resident, and he is basically a smith. He is now making this manually drilled weed remover and a blower equipment, and he is gaining his livelihood out of it. And the students of the same unit, in order to maintain their campus, they came out with the grass cutter equipment, solar powered grass cutter equipment. And one of the important thing which I'm which I'm willing to highlight here is many of these equipments were made by the used materials. None of them were brought in new from the shops. They were made from the used materials, and the campus of that polytechnic then was maintained by the grass cutter, which was solar operated, purely made by the students. So this is how we did bridge the classroom with the community. And these are there are various such examples. Our students did prepare the standing wheelchair just to aid the. Sir, how much more time? Our students did also made the standing wheelchair to aid the physically handicapped. The physically handicapped students who found who were not convenient enough to pick the books at the higher elevation from the library, to aid such of the physically disabled students. Our own students from the Bhartesh Polytechnic Belgaum, they came up with the standing wheelchair. So this is also made by the used equipments. And we did also in order to aid the society or to clear the menace of the plastic, our students came up utilizing the waste plastic as a source of fuel. They did burn the fuel. They condensed. They did burn the plastic in the controlled container, and the fumes were condensed. And to our astonishment, the condensed fumes of the plastic did have some calorific value, which in a long run, with the detailed study, the condensed fumes of the plastic can also function as the fuel in the long run. And the students of one of the polytechnic prepared the sanitary napkin incinerator. This is made by the waste materials, and just at the meager cost of 1,500, the students did prepare this sanitary napkin incinerator, and it was kept at the entrance of the toilet room of the females, wherein the sanitary used napkins were just put into the internal chamber. When the power was on, 1 second was sufficient enough to burn the entire used napkin into the wash. Though there is a detailed study required to study the quality of the fumes, but at the level of the 16-17-year age group, the culture of bridging classroom with the community did function very well. Again, to aid the low-income farmers, our students did also bring out the mechanical seed remover device. Again, the picture, what you see at the extreme right top corner, it is the platform prepared out of the used waste plastic bottles. All these are yet this day functioning. And there are one such examples of the multiple agri function facilitator, the leaf cutter, and this is a smart separator. Basically, this was designed for the railway coaches, whereas with the help of the proper programmed, this machine was able to separate the dry waste, wet waste, plastic waste, and the green waste. So this was successfully operated. And last was the campus car. Solar operated campus car was used by the used plastic pipes. The discarded plastic pipes of the polytechnic were utilized, and with the help of the solar panel, the campus car was prepared. So just to take it forward, our students also did go to aid the farming community. They came with the crop protector, wherein during the season of harvest, to safeguard the crops, no sooner this was managed by some radar facilitated equipment, which is just a prototype. The image what you see here at the left side is a prototype model, wherein when a small bird enters the defined radius, this crop protector would sound like a dog, or would sound like a firecracker, and it could distract the birds away from that radius. This is how the crop protector was made. This is the smart farming, wherein the mobile application based irrigation could be controlled. This is also done by our students. And this is the programmed bell, which we have gifted for the nearby school. And utilizing the waste plastic bottles, the volunteers or the students of JSS Polytechnic Mysore, they did prepare the bird feeder. They made it the waste plastics as a source of grains for the birds, as the water for the birds. And this is one such marvelous achievement made by the Polytechnic, wherein the very low income group of people who were not in a position to afford to renovate their house, our volunteers, in the name of social outreach, they did donate the tarpaulin sheets and covered their terraces and made them totally waterproof during the rainy season. And this was done at Moodbidre in the Dakshin Karnataka, in the district of Dakshin Kannada. And our students also renovate the government schools. They will also paint it. So this is how. And along with that, as I told, many civilizations did arise with the source of available water. We also have function for the water conservation. We did build the embankments and we did store the water during the summer, and all this was administered under the panchayat. We didn't go without any breach. So these are the tiny steps that the Department of Technical Education has engaged through NSS for skilling the youth and social outreach. And I strongly believe that this is a prelude in making Bharat a Vishwaguru again. So with the saying, I'll just try to end. A proper vision is equal to the 1,000 ideas. The ability defines our capability, motivation makes it happen, and attitude reinforces it. The skill without will is baseless, and skill with intelligence is priceless. So with this, I thank this esteemed platform, as well Dr. Basaraj sir, for having given me an opportunity to share the real-time practices that have been done from my end, so that it can reach the many, and all of us together should try our best and should contribute our best in making Bharat Vishwaguru once again. I thank you everyone once again. Any questions in this matter can please be sharing.
Sharing stop. Any questions from the audience? No, sir.
Sir, mic open.
Sir.
Sir, good evening. Shika sir.
Yeah,
Sir.
good evening. Very good presentation. Can you hear me? Good
Yes, sir. I can, sir. I can.
Yeah, very good presentation.
Thank you, sir.
So today we have had one meeting with we're going to introduce entrepreneurship kind of outreach with private sector participation. So Baswaraj, you just I think it will be useful that you can link up with that team who's working on this.
Okay, sir.
Guru Prasad, you'll be part of that team. I think Nikhil is there, I think, in that.
Yeah, from Polytechnic, sir.
Sorry?
He's in Polytechnic, sir. He's in Polytechnic group.
Yeah. It's, so Prasanna aurge matadi, Baswaraj.
Yes, sir.
Today morning we had a meeting with Kindle, and we are going to launch in this another 1 or 2 months this entrepreneurship kind of thing, where some few colleges and polytechnics are going to be selected. So in part of that planning, because so many activities, I saw a lot of innovative ideas. So Guru Prasad can be part of that thinking process. Huh?
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Pleasure is mine. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
We will just will ask Guru Prasad to be in that particular team, sir.
Yeah, please do that.
You will take care, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Any other questions for participants? Yeah. GEC Gangavati. Yeah.
Sir, good evening, sir. This is Redxwami Gabai from GEC Gangavati. Dr. Guru Prasad, sir, it's a really very good, very informative and very innovative thinking kind of a presentation. Really, it's a very good, very useful. Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah.
So if anybody is interested to talk or ask any questions,
Dr. Suresh Kumar.
Dr. Kumar, Suresh Kumar, hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please,
Yes,
please
can you
continue.
hear me?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
A very good presentation, Dr. Guru Prasad Hogar.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Actually, I am Dr. Suresh Kumar, retired civil engineering professor from the Polytechnic side. Earlier, there was a scheme called Community Development through Polytechnics, where the community was directly involved. I don't know whether the scheme is working now or not. In case it is not working, can it be revived?
Yeah, sir.
Yes,
We
yes,
will
sir.
take your advice. It is not, now actually they're not doing any such things, but definitely this will be incorporated in future.
Yeah, the Polytechnic will be directly in contact with the community.
Yeah.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Wonderful presentation. Kudos, Mr. Guru Prasad Hogar.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Okay, now we'll have a last speaker of this AROHAN series, Mr. Arun Mankani. I request Guru Prasad to introduce him for this session. Yeah. Arun, are you there? Yeah. Arun?
Arun, can you hear?
Yeah, I can hear you, Guru.
Yeah,
I can hear you, sir. Yeah, please go
Thank you.
ahead.
It's my pleasure to introduce my friend, my classmate, Mr. Arun Mankani, the Senior Engineering Manager, Database Engineering Core Systems in Infrastructure, Minneapolis, USA. He is serving as a Senior Engineering Manager, overseeing RDBMS databases at Target. He lead the profit and the loss responsibilities, engineering endeavors, and product management for an esteemed and diverse database service portfolio. With over 17 years of experience, he is a specialization in assembling and directing high-performing teams, delivering the scalable and dependable database solutions, and championing the customer satisfaction and value creation. Our recent engineering initiatives have not only, his recent engineering initiatives have not only saved the Target millions of dollars, but also have facilitated the critical services such as payments, order managements, and gift cards. Prior to his tenure as at the Target, he has served as the senior database engineer at GEC, where he superheaded the modernization and migration of mission critical database systems to support GEC's global operations. Earlier in his career, he has contributed significantly to the modernization of the Medicare and Medicaid database systems at UHC. During his last 10 years of tenure at TCS, he has played a pivotal role in numerous client engagement across India, LATAM, and the USA within the database engineering domain. His passion lies in cultivating innovative teams with a strong customer-centric ethos. He is deeply committed to building global teams that prioritize innovation and customer satisfaction. With this brief introduction, I here present Mr. Arun Kumar Mankani before you. Arun, now the platform is open to you. You please can share your screen and start your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Guru. Hey, thanks everyone. Good evening. I know probably it's pretty late. It's dinner time. I'll kick things off and I'll try to keep it short. Before we get started, I want to thank my dear friend, Dr. Guru Prasad, and also I want to thank Dr. Basavaraj sir for this invitation. It's an honor to be part of this forum. This is an amazing initiative. I can see a lot of new ideas, a lot of things where a lot of engineering initiatives can actually help community problems. So yeah, this is amazing. Wish you all a ton of success. I also want to thank Dr. Satish and Nalini for their fantastic presentations and deck. Yeah, they're amazing. And Guru, as usual, yeah, fantastic deck as well. Let me go ahead and share my screen.
Arun, sorry, can you switch on your video?
Sure, I can do that, sir.
Thank you.
One second. Let me know if you're able to see my screen.
Yeah, you can, yeah. Can you share your presentation?
Sure. So one sec.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, for some reason my deck is not allowing me. Give me one sec.
Yeah, can you share your PPT otherwise? We'll,
Arun, the rights have been enabled. You can share your screen.
yeah, you made a co-host, so you have got all rights. So
Yeah, I think it's more of my Mac and Google Meet.
Okay.
yeah, you do one thing, you just share your PPT.
Okay, one second. Yeah, we don't use this, but yeah, let me reply back to, sir, I'll reply back to your email.
Yeah. Yes, please. Yes, please. You please can share your presentation, or else your drive link. Will be operating from here.
Yeah, sure. Okay. It's not a big deck. Again, not something what you guys have created, but hope this helps. Sir, I mailed you a document. Can you see if you can?
Arun, may I know the email address to which the slides have been shared?
Yeah, I replied back to Basavraj sir's email. It's tg5draju@gmail.com.
Yeah,
Yes, yes, fine.
yeah, I got it.
It's just a Word document, sir. Yeah, I
Yeah.
create
I will,
PPT.
What's the model? Word. Pages. ಇಲ್ಲ ಬಂದಿದೆ. ಓಪನ್ ಆಯ್ತು ಮಾಡಿ.
Arun, else can this be an interactive session?
Yeah, I can make it. Yeah, so it's
Please.
yeah, so it's a very simple topic. Again, I don't want to bore everybody with decks. So yeah, I thought probably it's a better idea to actually share a case study. Let me go ahead and see this here. So just to give a little bit of background about this, the case study, what I'm trying to present here, right? I've been in this space for a long time. I've been in this space for almost 17 years now. And one of the primary focus when I took up this role last year was to build a global distribution team, right? And if you look at majority of the technology trends over a period have changed drastically. To give you one such example, In 2016, in my first stint with Target, the largest database we supported was 6 terabyte. Now, if you look at the largest database we are supporting is around 150 terabyte. So you can see the amount of growth or the rate at which the data is growing in the industry, right? It's just one example, but then there are a lot of other systems which are much bigger, a lot of systems which have grown exponentially. And one of the key changes we saw during COVID as well was with the blackouts, right? With kind of lockdowns, right? One of the approach in US was, it was more of a voluntary lockdown, but then a majority of the customers were preferring order pickups. When I say order pickups, you don't have to go into the store. You can just drive to the store and then stand in your parking lot. Store will deliver those products to you, right, in your car. So you don't have to get down. It was a huge convenience. And we went from growing at 1 terabyte a month to 7 terabyte a month, right? So this was an exponential growth during those times. So yeah, I just picked up two of my learnings, my recent learnings, and this is what I was speaking with Guru as well during our connects, where we decided probably this is a good forum to actually discuss some of these topics as well. To start with, I'll start with Motorola case study. Majority of you heard about Motorola company, right? But then not for the right reasons, or not the way we are hearing about Apple, or not the way we are hearing about Nokia. You heard about as well, right? To start with, Nokia was initially started in 1948. They built their first color television in 1948. Very few of us have seen those color televisions because Motorola was not interested, or they didn't see the scope of that market, right? They moved on to different innovations. In 1950, they became a primary supplier for American space program and also for US military, right? Let me see if I can do this. Yeah, US military. They also built the first pager in 1950, which became an instant hit in all hospitals across US. In 1970, they developed microprocessors, which became a primary supplier to Apple. In 1982, Motorola acquired a company called Four-Face Systems for around $250 million. And then cellular tech became their primary focus. By 1983, Motorola launched their own version of cellular system called Dynatech. By 1986, they became the world's top cell phone supplier. So you can think of from 83 to 86, within 3 years, they went from no telephone to the largest telephone suppliers of the world. By 1988, they were awarded something called Baldrige National Quality Award. This is award an equivalence of what the wave was at that time, right? If you look at a lot of these manufacturing innovations coming out of Japan, there was a lot of comparison between quality of work coming out of Japan versus quality of work coming out of US. So US Congress made this deliberate effort to inspire and recognize companies in US who are building this or taking quality to next level, right? So they created this Baldrige National Quality Award, and Motorola was the first company to receive this in US. They had a ton of patents, ton of innovations within the company, and they were one of the most admired technology company in US at that time. By 1990, Motorola surpassed $10 billion in revenue. If you look at their growth over the next few years, they went from $10 billion in 1990 to $27 billion in 1995. So they had an impressive revenue growth of 27% per year. And during the same time, there was a change in analog to digital conversion for telephone systems. So one of the underlying factor here is the entire revenue model, which came within Motorola, was primarily based on analog telephones. When they and that was the time when a lot of these technology was changing. They also had a division which was actually focusing and innovating on digital platforms as well. And they actually are the first inventors of the digital telecom sector as well. But the problem was they had one internal algorithm or a system, it's called forecasting system, which forecasted that the shift from analog to digital will take another 65 years. So they relied on that forecasting so much, they never focused attention, or they never gave that importance to their own team's digital innovations, right? They own companies in digital innovations. Within the next few years, they tried to catch up, but then their market share went from 60% in 1994 to 34% in 1998. So within 4 years, the decline was very rapid, right? So if you look at all of this, one of the most admired company in US went from the most admired to pretty much nameless within a matter of few years, right? Not even a decade. So I just want to pause here before I go ahead. Any questions on this, or any clarifications you need? Okay, I'll go to the next part. That's the learning from this, right? So they relied on the internal forecasting algorithm. That's nothing but equivalence of what we call today a term AI, right? So they heavily relied on AI without realizing what that means in the real term, or what that means in the real technology trend, right? That forecasting was absolutely wrong in this case. If you look at it, the digital revolution happened very fast, right? Within 4 to 5 years, the entire market shifted from analog to digital, and they pretty much lost everything what they built, right? But the irony here is, it's not that they were not aware of digital revolution. It's not that they were not capable of doing it. It's those internal cultural barriers within the organization which prevented them to give that importance to digital innovations happening within their own company. In this case, because they had this one concept in management called decentralized management. Motorola highly believed that a company of their size should have decentralized management, and they created a lot of these silos. Again, these silos bring a lot of attention to detail and focus. But then, having said that, it also created a lot of these silos where they never understood what others are doing, or they never got visibility to what other orgs within the same company are doing, right? So when and also their incentives were tied to how much revenue are bringing in. Like the analog part of the org was heavily rewarded. On the contrary, the digital side of the org, which was kind of loss making at that time because they were taking a lot of money, but then the revenues were not coming at the same pace. They were not given the same focus or same attention. So because that, the revenues were also muted in that space. So because that, they ended up recommending we should lease these technology to outside, and they ended up leasing this to their own main competitors. Here are some of the key notable competitors. They lease their digital technology was to Nokia and Ericsson, and Apple as well. They overtook. They pretty much ate lunch from Motorola's plate, right? They used the innovation which was coming out of Motorola, and then they understood the importance of converting their platform to digital so that they can serve more customers. It can be a platform for scale, and they actually overtook the entire US market, and Motorola is no more. Going down further, I think in 2000 or 2012, they were sold to Google for $12.5 billion, and then Google also couldn't manage them. One of the most successful companies on earth couldn't revive Motorola, and then they sold them back within just 24 months for $2.5 billion or $3 billion. So even they took almost $9 billion cut on their purchase. So yeah, a couple of learnings here. One, when you're building an organization structure, you still need to understand and focus on innovating. At the same time, you run your efficient operations. Here in this case, one of the primary failures, or you can see that probably, I think it's there in a lot of provides. Baldrige Award, which was highly celebrated, was also the early warning signs of failure for Motorola. They were so head over heels on Baldrige Award and quality, they didn't focus on anything else. They didn't focus on the primary challenge, which was moving from analog to digital brand. They never focused on that part of the challenge. They focused only on quality. They focused on making company Six Sigma, etc., etc. Again, I'm not saying those are bad, but you should be realistic to understand what is important at that time. when Motorola was spending a lot of time making their production, the analog device production, a Six Sigma compliant or Six Sigma level. Their competitors were using their Motorola's technology to convert their analog systems to digital systems, and they took over. So yeah, this is one case study I have, and the second one I have is Snowbrand. Right, Snowbrand is a farmer-owned cooperative society in Japan, primarily dairy production company. Right, formed in the same time zones, 1925. One of the highly successful, well-respected milk or dairy production company. Sorry. Is there any questions? Okay. So in 1955, there was one major disaster struck, right? There was a major outbreak across 9 elementary schools. They reported a food poisoning affecting around 1,900 kids. This was due to primarily new equipment and a temporary blackouts caused this issue, right? Snowbrand's reaction was really swift. Then CEO Mr. Sato immediately ordered a product recall and halted all sales. I want to highlight here all sales. So he didn't just halt milk production or a dairy production from just one farm or one production site. He actually halted all. He took advertising spaces in all major newspapers and published an apology, and also rushed off to factory himself to investigate the matter. He took a team of experts. He created an independent group of quality inspection teams, and then he also built in multi-stage quality inspection, etc. And then he didn't come out of those. He didn't take rest until they found the root cause. Once they had the root cause, they accepted the problems. They built solutions. The quality, the solutions included the multi-stage inspection, an independent quality division, etc. Right? This became an industry standard. Government started following all of these quality inspections as a guidelines for what dairy production company should follow. Right? They set that standard, and because of that, it became one of the most trusted brands in Japan. The power of brand was so powerful. To give you one example, there was a blind taste test was conducted on a national television in Japan. Right? They asked a couple of customers to come in with a blindfold, asked them to taste milk, and the competitor's milk tasted better when the blind test was done. But then when they were given a choice, they actually went with Snowbrand milk versus competitor's milk. If you understand the importance of this is huge, right? Like, the taste is better by the competitor, but still your customer is still sticking with your brand because they trust your brand because of your actions in 1955. It lasted almost 30 to 40 years. Snowbrand became one of the largest dairy production company in Japan. They hit operations around $10 million in revenue. That's at that time was huge, right? So as time passed, Mr. Sato retired. A lot of the processes he built kind of lost importance or significance within the company, and there was a lot of pressure on cutting costs. Right? One of the things in Japan was a lot of these manufacturing or dairy farms actually printed something called expiry dates. Instead of expiry dates, they actually put a production date. Sorry, instead of expiry date for milk, in US, actually you see for all milk cartons you see an expiry date. But then in Japan, they actually put something called production date, when this milk was produced. So it was always D-1, right? The day it was delivered, it took them almost 24 hours and to process that milk, and then with all the quality tests, etc., and say like, okay, this milk is safe to drink, because that was a part of that 1955 lessons, right? So they started delivering D-1 milk to everyone, and that was the market. But then the new market trends and new customer demands, etc., focused on, oh, can I get D-0? D-0 is, can you actually supply the milk on the same day, or can you supply fresh milk to everybody? And this was actually kind of a customer demand as well in Japan at that time. So this put a pressure on the new management in 2000s, and they ended up actually cutting corners, and then they said, okay, yeah, we'll start shipping the milk D-0. But then one of the key elements they missed here was with this D-0, there's no window where if the test came out and said like, okay, this milk is not safe to drink, you don't have an option to actually cut that or pull that milk back. It was already shipped. It was already sent to a lot of stores, etc. Right? But they still went ahead with D-0, and with this model, the disaster was bound to happen, and it did strike. Right, in 2000, the same Snow brand hit again food poisoning outbreak, and this impacted a bigger group this time, bigger than 1,900 people, and it was on national television. It covered everywhere. And one of the key call out here is how Snow brands reacted. Snow brand's reaction this time was extremely different. This time the management was not ready to acknowledge the problem, not ready to accept the ownership, not ready to accept the mistake. They lingered around. They tried to see who can be blamed, whether it is actually part of Snow brand company or it is somebody else's, or is it just a supplier's issue, or this is somebody just a store issue, etc. And then they took a couple of days to actually just to acknowledge there is a problem. And once they acknowledged, they actually tried to limit this to a specific zone so that they don't lose revenues on the rest of the zones. So they didn't halt or stop the dairy product sales. Because of this, it started to impact the entire Japan. They were actually a national brand by that time. So yeah, the impact spread across, and then starting to hear like, okay, it's coming from north, south, and everywhere else. So because of this, they were forced to halt. Government intervened and said like, okay, hey, you have to pause the sales of this brand. Later that time, CEO came out and he was giving a lot of interviews, press conferences, saying that, okay, hey, then there's an issue, we are still looking into it, etc., etc. After 2 days of relentless interviews, meetings, etc., there was a question asked by the reporter, like, what is the status? Because he was still in his headquarters. He never went to a site where this outbreak started, right? He never set up, or he never showed that seriousness to own that responsibility. So the CEO was tired, and he said, oh, I want my life back. I haven't slept the last 2 days. And that is the reporter who was interviewing him responded back saying that I didn't sleep either, but I care for my kids. I want to make sure the milk my kids drink is safe. So I want goddamn answer. What is the issue? And are you going to fix it? How are you going to make sure this is not happening again? This was broadcasted. This clip was broadcasted across Japan million times, right? It was on the front page of every newspaper, and that CEO lost a job. And it is not just CEO who is losing a job. It also broke that brand promise. And Snow brands never survived. Like they never saw the light again. Right? They merged with some other company. They sold their assets to some other company, and then they went under. So a couple of learnings here, right? Building a culture of safety is extremely important. So there was a company called Chevron in US where they had a lot of these oil disasters in the past. And to overcome that, they built this one culture process where every day in every meeting, they'll speak about safety for the first 5 minutes. They'll talk about advancements in safety. They'll also talk about what are the best practices companies following, so that every time you have a newbie or a new resources coming in and joining your company, they're still aware of what's happening and what needs to be done. Right? They reminded everybody. Again, this is just one of the initiatives. I'm giving you an example, but then it's extremely important to build these kind of cultures. And second key learning here is with the Snow brands, no one cares about your comfort when you or your company has created a really harmful situation. Make sure you prioritize that. Make sure your customers, community, and your stakeholders are safe, right? Then you actually take the rest of the decisions. But the primary focus should be always on building a safe environment for everybody, or like whoever is using your products. And build a culture of communication, right? In IT, we call it as reactive and proactive. right? Majority of the incidents, what you see on paper are reactive, right? It happened and the system collapsed or system failed. And then you're on the news saying that, okay, this product didn't work or this service didn't work for so many days. So that's everybody knows. But then there are a series of metrics and dashboards within which can be proactive. And in that proactive messaging, we have two categories. One is called false negative and false positive. False negative can be many, right? You should, as a company, we should encourage those false negative communications as well, irrespective of the ratio between false negative and false positive. When you have one false positive, you can still prevent it because this is a proactive monitor, proactive threshold, or proactive metrics, right? You can prevent that future damage or a catastrophe by addressing this false positive. But then having said that, there is no guaranteed way to predict whether I'm always giving false positive. So there can be many false negatives. So as a management, as a culture, we should use those to learn system, not to just discourage and these kind of proactive communication. So it is okay to, or the culture wise, we should build this where it is okay to bring a bad news. It is okay to bring alarms or bad news to the management and encourage that type of culture. And a couple of other learnings as well, and then I'll hand it over. Big companies look for specific skill. Now, actually, if you look at majority of the big companies are actually looking for a management, a group of managers who can actually prevent these kind of issues as well, right? Because majority of the systems what we manage are kind of backbone services and critical. And the expectation from management team is, how can you actually help us to prevent a catastrophe in your space? How can you help prevent a major incident in your space? And that's one of the very important skill to have. So yeah, we need to build that or imbibe that into our own culture and day-to-day practices. And probably you all know this, a Challenger disaster, it was one of the rockets which was major disaster in US. It was due to a very simple safety ring, right? It was one of the mechanical components which was never tested for extreme cold. It is not like team didn't know this. Team was very aware that there is a ring which is not tested for extreme cold, but they ignored to give that attention to that piece because they focused on bigger challenges. They had a hard deadline they were racing against. And in that race, they forgot to test this ring for extreme cold. And on the day of the Challenger launch, the temperatures were -40, right? It was colder than your freezer, and this ring actually failed, right? Because that it ended up creating that, and you know the whole story. But yeah, so it is very important to have that safety practices where team can actually bring that bad news and say like, okay, hey, this thing was not tested. We need to halt this operations or halt this launch, delay this launch, test it, and then actually push it, right? So yeah, it's very important to build that culture in the org. And one more thing here is, don't get too confident on algorithms or machine learnings, right? I know there's a lot of hype around AI, there's a lot of hype around machine learning. We use a lot of that, but then having said that, you also need a lot of these oversight around all of these systems to make sure these systems work for community. These systems doesn't have any biases which can actually impact adversely a specific section of the community or a specific functionality of the company, right? So you still need to make sure you have this highly efficient oversight or build that rigorous process around this where you are evaluating or validating this time and again, making sure these systems are working as you expect. And if you look at even from the Motorola engagement, they heavily relied on this in one internal AI system which predicted that analog to digital transformation will take 65 years. So they never gave focus or attention to their own company's digital innovations which are happening, right? Even though the outcomes are great, even though the results are great, the quality was great, scalable solution, could have been the largest company on earth, but then they didn't do it because they relied heavily on one specific forecasting algorithm which said, okay, it will take 65 years. So yeah, it's important to build a culture where along with all of these innovations, you still have some rigorous oversight around these processes. Okay, with that, I think I'll pause here. Yeah, these are the two case studies I want to share. Sorry for the deck, I couldn't share that. Any questions?
Questions, if any, the mics are open. The audience can unmute their mics and they can directly ask the questions. Sir, please. Sir, please.
Thank you, Arun. I'm Shrikar. I'm Principal Secretary, Higher Education, Government of Karnataka. Thank you for being here and good presentation on Motorola and Snowbrand and the experiences. So I just have a question on, so we have started this initiative and it's going on very well in terms of interaction. So I want to, ask you to use your network, and you should have more people who are from Karnataka, who are in the states, in different companies, in different positions, to share their experiences amongst us. So, that will be a very good knowledge sharing experience. So I think Baswaraju will probably, get in touch with you on that. If you could kind of facilitate that, it will be good, because we have this every 15 days. So such experiences and such talks will really motivate many of us here. That's one. And secondly, even on collaboration, we have 16 government engineering colleges, 106 polytechnics. I assume you're from Karnataka. I don't know whether you're from Karnataka.
Yes, sir. I'm from Navalgund, Dharwad district.
Oh,
yeah.
Navalgund.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
I was in the US sometime back, so Target was a very popular destination we used to go to. So,
Thank you.
for that. So, see, use your. give us some ideas. Use your network that you can give. That can give back to government engineering and polytechnic colleges in Karnataka.
Absolutely, sir.
It's not only about infrastructure. It's about knowledge sharing. It's about collaboration. It's about things. So, since you're here and you've given this presentation and you've given your time, it would be great that if you can collaborate and give more ideas, get people who are similarly present, because I know a lot of people from Karnataka who want to contribute to that. So if you can do that with us, we'll form a team and work with you on that.
Absolutely, sir. Yeah, I can bring in more people here. I know a lot of our folks from Karnataka are interested in giving back. We are part of one foundation called Vida, where we adopt schools in India every year and we revive those schools every year. We provide full funding through our own private contributions. But then again, this happens across India. So yeah, definitely I can find more people. I can see who is interested and then bring them to this forum. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. And we are looking at more higher education and our technical education. The needs are different from primary education, where the basic facilities also are not there. Here, it's more about technical knowledge and upskilling and thinking of other ways of improving. So it will be great if you can contribute, and we can have an institutional mechanism for that. Thanks.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thanks for your time.
Yeah. No problem.
Any other questions from the audience? You please can unmute your mics and you can directly ask the questions.
Arun sir. Hello.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Sir, anticipation under Motorola, the anticipation tappaita, atwa the market survey tappaita. Kodak was one such case where they never shifted onto the digitalization. And our photocopy print model now with so hangagi Kodak went down. So atara anticipation tappaita, atwa ಅವರು develop ಆಗಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ನೋ ತರ ಇದು ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ರ ಸರ್ ಅವರು.
Was spot on. I think you asked the right question. Great question. So yeah, Motorola it's not like they didn't have a digital technology. They had a division where they licensed their own technology to Nokia and Ericsson. Nokia and Ericsson did not have this digital platform at all. So it is Motorola who invented the digital platform as well. They have a ton of patents and they licensed those patents because one primary forecasting algorithm within the company which said this transformation will take 65 years to scale, or this transformation will take 65 years. So they all ignored the scale or what digital platform could offer. They just, okay, yeah, this is not going to make money, so let me just lease it and then get whatever money I can get. But they never made that as a primary business. So yeah, I think that was one where they ignored to see it because they heavily relied on or blindly relied on the forecasting algorithm. Right, that's one. And the second part, what they say is a cultural shift as well. When I say cultural shift, if you look at the Motorola's primary customers in the analog world, were majority of the business customers. Right, they were not price sensitive. They didn't care about aesthetics of the product, or they primarily focused on whether I can get the services or not. Right. So they were very happy. Motorola as a company was very happy to deal with that customer versus coming into a digital platform where you have to scale it and give it to common man. The minute you start giving it to common man, the expectations were really high, right? It has to look aesthetically great. It has to be cheap, and they were highly sensitive to price, etc., etc. So because of that, Motorola culturally didn't want to shift from the high-paying corporate customers to low-paying, high-demanding customers. So there were cultural barriers as well, along with this forecasting. So they took comfort in, okay, yeah, my business is running, and it came in one of the CEO's interviews as well from Motorola, where people asked, why are you not shifting to digital? And his primary answer was, oh, we have 44 million customer base and they are not idiots. So he never acknowledged the problem itself, and it spread across everywhere.
Maybe the overconfidence, sir.
It could be a combination of all. Yeah.
Maybe. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, I have a question online. How can Motorola and ethically challenge are going to impact an era of AI? So you can see that one of the things we have seen over a period is I'll probably give this through an economics answer, right? So if you look at S&P 500 is an index like what we do in Nifty 50, Nifty 100 in India, right? So it's the 500 largest companies in US. And if you look at the number of companies in that 500, earlier the belief was it took 20 to 30 years to replace a company which is part of top 50 or top 100, right? Now the age span of companies within that top 50 or top 100 is down to 10 years. And now the expectation is it is going to cut down further. When I say cut down further, a company which is a number one in US now might not be number one, or it'll be out of that top 10 or top 50 within the next 4 to 5 years. So that's the expectation. So, and that's happening, right? That's the learning from even historical numbers as well. So overall, a lot of these technology advancements, including AI, you will see that churn going through S&P 500. But then having said that, there are different approaches from different companies, right? One of the things is some of the companies just chase, and it is chase all the new technologies, new platforms relentlessly. And the second set of companies where they evaluate what works, and they also try to build an end-to-end system, right? And they believe that adds more value to their customers. It can actually solve some major problems for customers, or a simple problem for customers. So yeah, it depends on what journey each company chooses. But definitely AI is going to bring a lot of revolution in the tech space. And one of the key things what we need to know is, I think there is a popular story in the media is around gold rush in US is now being compared to AI revolution in India. So during gold rush, a lot of the tool companies made money, and same thing in AI. Like if you look at NVIDIA, which is now a $1 trillion company, is actually a tool provider. So they are also making a lot of money. So yeah, it's different train of thoughts, but a major impact from a lot of these technology changes. Probably I didn't answer your ethical challenge piece. That's probably a bigger topic. I don't have an answer for that. Yeah.
Any other questions from audience? Okay, I think there are no questions, sir. Arun, thank you very much for being.
Thank you, sir. Yeah.
We waited from the beginning, and the session was very interactive and informative. And thanks for us, our Principal Secretary suggested, please extend our support to other folks in US so that we can build a big network and we can see how actually we can help Government Engineering College Polytechnics in Karnataka. Your support is highly appreciated, and I thank Dr. Guru Prasad for giving your link and making this particular session more interactive and meaningful. So we'll have a fruitful interactions in future. And
Definitely, sir.
I thank our Honorable Principal Secretary, Higher Education Department, and Commissioner of Commissioner and Director of Technical Education, and all the staff members and students for making this particular AROHAN session, Series 5, a successful one. Thank you very much. So thank you once again, Arun, for being with us.
Thank you, sir. It's
Bye-bye.
an honor to be part of this group. Thank you.
Have a great day. Yeah.
Thank you.
Have a nice day. Bye.
Yeah.
Good morning to you as well.
Good morning to you. Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a great day.
Thank you, sir.